Turning 60, 70, or even 80 doesn't mean slowing down. It means embracing life with wisdom, strength, and joy. Imagine waking up each day feeling energized, clear-minded, and free to do what you love. The best part? Staying healthy and independent doesn't require expensive treatments or extreme workouts. But how do we make that a reality? What small but powerful habits can help us stay strong, sharp, and full of life? Join us as we explore 5 simple yet life-changing practices, ones that can help you enjoy every moment with vitality and confidence. Let's dive in. Every morning, Mr. James, a man in his 60s, walks leisurely along the small path by the lake near his home, a habit he has maintained for over 10 years. Initially, he started walking because his doctor advised him to exercise after a routine health checkup. But over time, he realized that those slow, steady steps brought significant changes not only to his physical health, but also to his mental well-being. He used to suffer from high blood pressure and occasional dizziness, but after a few months of regular walking, his blood pressure stabilized, his heartbeat became more regular, and he no longer felt as fatigued as before. He also noticed that his clothes fit more loosely, suggesting that he had lost some weight without even trying too hard. More than just the physical benefits, James found that walking provided him with a sense of peace. Being out in nature, breathing in the fresh air, and listening to the birds chirping helped clear his mind and reduce the stress he had unknowingly carried for years. He also began to notice familiar faces along his route, exchanging smiles and occasional small talk with other walkers, which made him feel more connected to his community. What surprised him the most was how much he started looking forward to his daily walks. They were no longer just a health routine, but had become an essential part of his life, a time for reflection, relaxation, and quiet joy. He realized that staying active didn't have to mean intense workouts or complicated fitness programs. Sometimes, all it took was a pair of comfortable shoes, a little motivation, and the willingness to take that first step. Every evening, Sarah sat at the dining table, looking at the plate of food in front of her. A few years ago, her meals had been completely different. Fast food, instant noodles, and sugary snacks had been her daily routine. She was always in a rush, grabbing whatever was convenient, never thinking much about nutrition. But everything changed the day she visited her grandmother, who had been struggling with memory loss. Watching someone she loved forget names and familiar places made her realize how important brain health was. That night, she did something she had never done before. She started researching food and its impact on the body. The more she learned, the more she understood that her daily choices mattered. She began prioritizing whole foods, choosing fresh vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins over processed meals. At first, it felt challenging, reading labels at the grocery store, cooking from scratch, and resisting the temptation of fast food. But within weeks, she started feeling different. Her digestion improved, she had more energy, and even her skin looked healthier. The biggest change, however, was in her mind. She felt more focused at work, her memory sharpened, and she no longer had the afternoon crashes she used to experience. She also realized the importance of water, something she had often neglected. She started carrying a bottle with her, making sure to drink enough throughout the day. It was a small habit, but it made a huge difference. Planning meals in advance also became part of her routine, helping her stay consistent and avoid unhealthy choices when she was tired or busy. Over time, what had started as a concern for her future health became a lifestyle she truly enjoyed. Cooking became a creative outlet. Trying new recipes turned into a fun challenge, and sharing meals with friends and family became something she looked forward to. She no longer saw healthy eating as a restriction, but as a way of taking care of herself. Looking back, she was grateful for the wake-up call that had led her to change, because now she wasn't just eating to survive, she was eating to thrive. Emma had never been much of a cook. With a demanding job and little free time, she found it easier to rely on takeout and pre-packaged meals. It wasn't that she didn't enjoy good food. She loved the rich flavors of a well-cooked meal. But cooking felt like a chore, something that required too much effort after a long day. That all changed one afternoon when she started feeling constantly tired, sluggish, and bloated. A visit to the doctor revealed no major health concerns, but a simple question made her pause. What have you been eating? That night, she took a look at the ingredient labels of her favorite convenience meals. Words she couldn't pronounce filled the list: preservatives, artificial flavorings, and high amounts of sodium and sugar. She realized she had no real control over what she was putting into her body. That was the moment she decided to make a change. Emma didn't attempt a drastic transformation overnight. Instead, she started small. The next morning, she swapped her usual sugary cereal for oatmeal topped with fresh berries and honey. It was a simple change, but it made her feel more energized throughout the day. Encouraged by this, she gradually introduced more home-cooked meals into her routine. She replaced store-bought salad dressings with homemade versions, learned how to roast vegetables to bring out their natural sweetness, and even experimented with making her own bread. As she spent more time in the kitchen, Emma realized that cooking wasn't just about food. It was an act of self-care. She had complete control over the ingredients, ensuring that every meal was nourishing and free from unnecessary additives. Over time, her energy levels improved, her skin looked healthier, and she felt lighter and more vibrant. More importantly, she found herself truly enjoying the process. Cooking became a time to unwind, a creative outlet that allowed her to experiment with new flavors and textures. One evening, as she sat down to a meal she had prepared, grilled salmon with roasted sweet potatoes and a fresh salad, she smiled to herself. The food tasted better, not just because it was homemade, but because she knew exactly what was in it. She wasn't just eating to fill her stomach anymore. She was eating to nourish her body, to feel good, and to truly enjoy life. John had always been a sharp-minded man. In his younger years, he thrived in his career as an engineer, solving complex problems with ease. But after retiring at 68, something felt different. Without the daily challenges of work, his days became repetitive, and he often found himself forgetting small things, where he put his glasses, a friend's birthday, or the name of a book he once loved. At first, he brushed it off as normal aging, but deep down, he feared losing the sharpness that had defined him for so long. One afternoon, while visiting his daughter, he saw his 10-year-old grandson, Ethan, completely engrossed in a puzzle. "Grandpa, do you want to help me?" Ethan asked excitedly. John hesitated but sat down beside him. As they worked through the puzzle together, something shifted inside him. The challenge, the focus, the little moments of satisfaction when a piece fit perfectly, it all reminded him of how much he used to enjoy solving problems. That evening, John made a decision. If he could keep his body active with walks in the park, why not do the same for his mind? The next day, he picked up a book he had once meant to read but never had time for. He challenged himself with crossword puzzles in the morning, and even started learning a few words in Spanish, just for fun. At first, it felt strange, like waking up a part of himself that had been asleep for years. But soon, he found joy in the process. He began setting small goals, finishing a book every 2 weeks, solving a new type of puzzle, even trying his hand at playing the piano, something he had always admired but never attempted. The more he engaged his mind, the more alive he felt. Conversations became more engaging, his memory improved, and most importantly, he no longer feared losing himself to time. One evening, as he and Ethan sat together playing a strategy game, John laughed. I think I'm getting better at this," he said. Ethan grinned. "Of course you are, Grandpa. You just have to keep practicing." John nodded. Keeping the mind active wasn't just about preventing memory loss. It was about keeping life exciting, staying curious, and finding joy in learning something new every day. When Robert turned 70, he started noticing little changes in his body. Climbing the stairs made him feel winded, getting up from a chair took more effort, and carrying groceries felt heavier than before. He had always been independent, priding himself on handling everything without help, but lately he found himself relying more on his wife or son for small things. One day, as he reached for a jar on the top shelf, he lost his balance and had to grab the counter to steady himself. That moment hit him hard. He had never been afraid of falling before. Determined to stay strong, Robert decided to do something about it. He wasn't the type to join a gym. and lifting heavy weights sounded intimidating. But after some research, he realized he didn't need fancy equipment or intense workouts. He started small, doing squats while brushing his teeth, holding a plank for just 10 seconds at a time, and using light dumbbells he found in the garage. The first week was tough. His muscles ached, and he felt clumsy trying new exercises. But instead of giving up, he reminded himself why he started. Every morning, he added just a little more, a few extra squats, a longer plank, an additional lift. Slowly, he felt the changes. His legs felt sturdier, his grip stronger, and most importantly, he no longer hesitated when reaching for something high up. A few months later, he was out grocery shopping when he saw an elderly woman struggling to lift a bag into her cart. Without thinking, Robert stepped in to help. As he lifted the bag effortlessly, she smiled and said, "You're pretty strong for your age." He chuckled, realizing how true that was. Strength training wasn't about looking fit or lifting heavy weights. It was about staying independent, being able to carry his own groceries, play with his grandchildren, and walk confidently without fear of falling. Every squat, every plank, every small effort was an investment in his freedom. That evening, as he sat on the porch watching the sunset, he felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He wasn't just getting older, he was getting stronger. As you've just heard, staying healthy and independent isn't about making drastic changes. It's about small, consistent habits that add up over time. Whether it's taking a daily walk, choosing wholesome foods, cooking at home, keeping your mind sharp, or building strength, every step brings you closer to a vibrant and fulfilling life. Age is just a number, but how we take care of ourselves determines how we truly feel. So, which habit will you start today? It's never too late to invest in your well-being. Your future self will thank you for it. If you found these stories helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little inspiration, and subscribe to my channel for more tips on living a healthy, happy life. Together, we can make every year our best year yet.